Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Veterans Growing America podcast. I am Coach Rob Simmons. I am here with my esteemed co-host Donnell Johns, and we have an amazing guest for you today, Mr. Riccoh Player. He is the founder of Parade Deck. Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing?
There's no sir. Come on, coach. You can't do me like that. Got some brothers on here talking about positivity, iron sharpening iron. DJ, my man. Come on now. It just fills my heart with joy. In all seriousness, it's outstanding to see brothers doing positive things, showing that, sports are taking nothing away from sports. But brothers can do anything they put their minds to. And it's great to see, us lifting each other up. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here, gentlemen. You blessed me with this opportunity. Thank you.
Hey, Riccoh, thank you. That's what I want to say. And I love stories, right? Well, we all have one. So tell us a little bit about your military background and experience. I want to hear that story.
Well, it's I try. I rarely go into my story because I don't find it that appealing. But I would be remiss to come on here and not talk about it. Say, what'd you bring this dude on the show for then? So all good. So I won't go all the way back to the womb, but we'll go back to where it started with the Marine Corps. And so I enlisted in the Marine Corps a long time ago, probably before you two young gents were born. I enlisted in the Marine Corps because I was in school at Ithaca College studying, theater and debate. And I went there because my mother told me, may she rest in peace. My mom said, hey, if somebody's going to pay for your education, take advantage of that. And I said, okay, roger that. Because I wanted to go into theater right out of high school. But Ithaca College came along. I didn't know what Ithaca was or where it was, but they were offering me a scholarship for theater and debate, so I jumped on it. And I went there. I did my thing there. Won't give you the eye-watering details of that journey, but after I graduated, I sold everything in my apartment and I enlisted in the Marine Corps. My family was Navy and Army, and a couple Air Force folks in there as well, but no one had done that crazy Marine thing. So I said, I'll give it a shot. And I was just going to do it for 4 years. And, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, by God's grace, got through that. I returned from that deployment. And one of the officers, he said, hey, you should seriously consider seeking a commission. I said, all right, it's just paper to me. So I, filled out the paperwork, submitted it, and boom, they said, congratulations, Corporal, go get on that bus. And I got on the bus and headed to Quantico, Virginia, because I was at Marine Barracks 8th and I, the oldest post in the Marine Corps, as a presidential guard there. And, finished that tour, headed to doggone I got the story mixed up there because I started enlisted and survived Paris Island, and from there it was just a nonstop. They thought I was a spy because back then I was in boot camp with my degree, and unbeknownst to me there was a 60-minute special on Paris Island that year, and some drill instructors got in trouble. And the very company that I went to in 2nd Battalion, they were the ones that all got relieved and got in trouble. So college comes in, they say, oh, you a spy. Oh, real good, college. We're going to give you something to write about. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm just trying to get through boot camp. But got through all that. And my most grueling experience there was the doggone pool. Because in East Cleveland, Ohio, there weren't a whole lot of young bros swimming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't factor the swim part when I signed the dotted line for enlisting. And they were just over there giggling. I didn't know what the hell they were laughing about, But they threw me in the pool with all my gear on. And brother, I was on the bottom of that pool, just like, Lord, help me, When I came through, they were pumping the water, I was spitting it out. And I was like, okay, the hard part is done. I got back in there and hammered my way through, got to the other side, and got through boot camp. And then the rest after that was colorful, colorful. I went to Marine Barracks 8th and I served that tour there. And like I said, post Desert Shield, Desert Storm, applied for a commission and began my officership through Officer Candidate School. The swimming haunted me after Officer Candidate School also, because from there we go to the basic school and hone our craft. And at that time, they said, if you're going to be in the infantry, you have to be a class 1 swimmer. And I was class 3 coming out of boot camp. So brothers, every weekend, my black behind was in that pool, gutting it out. And I can swim like a fish now. And for my children, all 4 of them, you don't play any sports till you learn how to swim. That was our house rule. So is that enough granularity for that story?
No, I love it. And through your storied career, I know there's some things that you learned on your journey that transition into entrepreneurship. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those things that you learned along your way to kind of emphasize what it meant to be for you as an entrepreneur?
Coach, honestly, it's all about relationships. And I didn't learn that. It really didn't gain any granularity for me until I was the chief of staff down in New Orleans for the reserve component of the Marine Corps. I'm not a reservist. I used to poo-poo on the reservists all the time until I was the chief. And it came to light in my eyes that, hey, I look at it, the machine, the Marine Corps machine is a vehicle, and 3 wheels of that is the active duty component, and that 4th wheel is the reserves. And if you don't have that 4th wheel on there, your vehicle ain't going nowhere. So I learned firsthand, Coach, that, hey, these folks are weekend warriors, but they get it. They have real jobs. They have real relationships and rapport. And, and that once the light came on and I did push-ups for, to forgive me for being a dummy, it has paid true dividends as an entrepreneur, without question.
I'm glad you picked up on the entrepreneurship piece. What helped you, what inspired you to start a business? Where did that inspiration come from?
Fair enough, DJ. So parade deck wasn't my first choice. So I was in command throughout COVID. And I was I was the only commander in the Department of Defense who continued the training pipeline and displaced or moved 3 times. And I didn't lose any police. We had about 26,000. I didn't lose any. So it started off, I reported to Parris Island, the second oldest post in the Marine Corps. I reported to Parris Island. COVID was doing its thing. And they learned that, hey, if one sick poolee trainee gets COVID, the whole doggone tent's going to be infected. So they bounced us from Parris Island up the road to the Citadel. And we had the whole campus to ourselves because the students were at home because of COVID. Lo and behold, we were there for, I think 60 days, and the students were starting to come back. So we had to move again. So I took my whole unit from Citadel, North Carolina, Citadel, South Carolina, and we went to Atlanta. And we took over a hotel. I had 2 towers in Atlanta. And that was, that's a whole nother podcast show. COVID in Atlanta. Come on, somebody. And that was fine. But I found that the logistics tail from Atlanta to camp to Parris Island was just too great. So we packed up and went to Jacksonville, Florida. And you're wondering, why didn't you just go to somewhere in Beaufort near Parris Island? There were no hotels big enough to accommodate us. So we went to Jacksonville, phenomenal city. They loved us. They supported us. And then I closed up camp, took everybody back to Parris Island and dissolved task force commitment. So in all of that craziness, I had one poolee. His mom called me from Buffalo saying, hey, my boy is at home. I said, hey, ma'am, that's fantastic. I'm glad he's safe. Please give me his address so I can send him his clothes. Good luck with him. So out of, 26,000 folks want to get one squirt out, it happens, but he was safe and sound with his mom. So all good. But those, that flexibility and being able to pivot, I took my uniform off and I went straight into documentary filmmaking. And two of the projects, the first one was Don McLean's American Pie, The Day the Music Died. So we unpacked the lyrics behind that song and why Don McLean wrote that song and why it was on the charts for almost 50 years. The second one was Reinventing Elvis, his 68 comeback special. Now, granted, bros, that's not my music, either one of them. but you got to pay the bills, okay? And a project is a project. And on those, I was the military advisor. So I was the military technical advisor on those films, those documentaries. And here's some inside baseball. The next time we do this, you'll see 2 more golden statues behind me because I earned 2 Telly Awards for both of those, 1 for each. But that was, hey, we were churning and burning. And then Hollywood goes on strike. So all the things we had in the chute, everything in the incubator, everything percolating, full stop. So I pivoted to Parade Deck. So for me, Parade Deck, I mean, that's where all the important stuff happens, the weddings, the promotions, the pay, of course, parades. And my career started on the parade deck at, Paris Island, went to Marine Barracks, the oldest post of the Corps, and I concluded as the mayor of Paris Island. I was the headquarters and service battalion commander when I retired. They called me the mayor because the general, she was on base also, and she was the governor. So I was the mayor, but my career ended there. So Parade Deck has always had a special place in my heart for my career. So that's why I stick with Parade Deck.
Hey, so tell us a little bit more about Parade Deck. What is it? What's the unique proposition? I want to hear all about it. And give me a little bit of the conception as well. I know we talked a little bit about it, but let's examine it a little more.
Fair enough. So what is Parade Deck? Parade Deck's a lot of things to a lot of people, but the root and where it started was podcasts. So podcasts, everybody's got one. You know what I mean? But I tell folks, if they're trying to be Seth Rogen or Oprah or Will Smith, Parade Deck's not the place for you. If you are here to hone your craft, I just gotta hydrate. If you are here to spread a message of positivity, if you are here to sharpen iron in other veterans, male, female, military spouses, the family members, then Parade Deck's the spot for you. And Coach, we're on to something. I say that because when Parade Deck was in beta for about 1.5 years, and I went into fully active in the seat as the CEO on August 1st of last year. And we had about 120 podcasters in the network. And we got podcasts, we have, feature films, documentaries, because that's my forte, authors, public speakers. If it's positive, if it's uplifting, if it's important, then it belongs on Parade Deck. And there's an open invitation to you if you served honorably. So in all that, a lot has changed in the 10 months that I've been active in the seat, because we can't do everything. And if you do everything, you'll be good at nothing. So I keep it simple, gents. So I focus on what's growing and what's getting the most positive feedback. And that is the podcast. So 120, 125 last year. And in all of that, I'm kind of a guerrilla warfare kind of dude in creating content. I go to all of the Veteran Service Organization events, and I just go in and I start bum rushing them and asking them the tough questions. And, someone somewhere by God's grace said, hey, this brother might be on to something. So I was approached by the Veterans Podcast Network, and they had a very robust stable of podcasters. And they said, hey, I haven't done anything with it in a while. I see what you're doing. Would you be interested in buying us? I said, no, not really. It'd be great if you give me what you got. Come on, let's be real. But this guy, a Marine veteran also, he founded the Veteran Podcast Day. He had the rights to that. And another veteran, he had the Veteran Podcast Network. I said, if you two can come up with a number, because I'm not going to be, negotiating with both of you. If you can come up with a number that satisfies and it's not going to take me to the cleaners, we got a deal. We got there, reasonable. And so now I have the rights to all of that. And what that means is now under the Parade Deck umbrella, I have the Veteran Podcast Network. So anytime I see, positive veteran, spouse, even family member podcasts, I'm trying to grab them because I want to be the godfather of military veteran podcasts. That's my goal. If you don't dream big, then you're in the wrong game. So I have that. And now we'll have, and it'll be virtual this year, the Veteran Podcast Awards. So folks who are out there churning and burning, I want to recognize them. We gotta celebrate each other. We gotta lift each other up. So all of that, gents, it is a business, and I am for profit. So as folks are watching and they say, well, maybe this brother's on to something, that pulls in advertisers, that pulls in investors, that pulls in people for promotions. So it's a long journey. It's not easy. I learn something new every day. But the joy, coach, is in seeing somebody, whether they have 5 or 50 or 500 followers, they're enjoying what they do, and they're finding quality in the fellowship of Parade Deck. Because no matter what, I will defend to the grave the community that we built, that is Parade Deck.
I love that. I love that. So you talked about the good. We're going to talk about the challenges, right? So what are some of the challenges that you dealt with in transitioning from the military to the business world?
DJ, we don't have enough time, man. In the sense that I stray from giving advice. I don't like to give advice, but I'll share what worked for me. And in full disclosure, I had my eyes on the stars. That's that Brigadier General star was right there. Marine Corps had other plans, and God had an even better plan. So I'm good with that. But in that journey, if I had known sooner, because I had about 6 months to kind of prep for retirement. If I had known sooner, the indicators were there earlier, a year to 18 months before is what I would have preferred for my transition. Because you get the fire hose of transition assistance information, and you're scribbling and trying to take pictures of PowerPoints and trying to talk to people and networking. If folks are listening and they're planning their transition, the farther out you can plan and build your network, the better. Because I'll raise a right hand, your network is your net worth. And I fully believe that. So as you're doing your planning, keep all those business cards. That's old school. I know folks do QR codes and they got the magic black card they can scan and all that. Hey, whatever works for you, but keep those contacts. Because once you take the uniform off, don't nobody care. Okay, so I've had part of my clientele are 3-4 star generals because of the job I had while in uniform, and they're shocked that nobody, is kicking down their door. Oh, please come speak to my organization. Don't nobody care. Okay, it's great. You were a 4-star. All right. This is a family show, right? I won't swear. But you're just another old white dude to a lot of these other organizations. You're a dime a damn dozen, okay? And that's not being crass or anything. That's the truth. If we're talking business, the business world could care less. What return on investment are you proving? That's what they want to know. So DJ, it has been, brother, I learned something new every day. But I'll say again, that network, protect it. That's your bread and butter, and learn as much as you can. Those transition classes are great. I know some of them are like poking yourself in the eye. Ooh, quit. I'll quit. But there is some value in there. And LinkedIn doesn't give me a nickel. Okay. But if I'm not mistaken, and you can fact check me, everybody who goes through the Department of Defense transition class, they get that year of gold chip doggone LinkedIn. That's like platinum. Use it, work the heck out of it to your advantage. Because once it turns off, ooh, they're like,
Right.
several $100s a year. Like, oh, what, costs that much? Delete.
I had that thing working for about 4 years in a row, and then they figured out how to make sure to turn it off. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Absolutely.
You hit on some key nuggets there. You do have to work 6 months to a year, even more out. And then that network that you have, it is your net worth.
Absolutely.
Hey, so let me ask you this. Active duty guy, you're talking to an active duty guy who is also into entrepreneurship, learning lessons in the military, throughout your career, and we're just looking for at entrepreneurial journey and your career in the military. What are some lessons or key advice that you would give to me?
Active duty? Wow. Now remember, I probably still smell like clothing sales. It's only been a couple of years since I took the uniform off. This is part of it, just the fellowship and camaraderie of those like-minded, positive folks that'll lift you up and and hey, they'll say, Coach, you probably don't want to do that. Or Coach, hey, have you seen this? You got to have your trusted circle of people, not necessarily yes man or yes woman, but folks who speak truth, truth to power, and and don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. What I mean by that is, look at your dream job or dream business that you want to create, and just go for it. Fail forward, is what I'm saying. Because there are lots of entrepreneurs out there in this space that are doing podcasts, that have websites, so on and so forth. But what's the the distinguishing thing that you bring to the table? Like, if you're known as the coach, own it. Be the coach. When the people think coach, they think of you. If it's DJ, he's saying, hey, this guy, we did this podcast when I was on active duty. I want to maintain it when I retire. Parlay that into, and you gotta translate everything. It took me almost 7 months to stop using acronyms, and because we speak it forever in uniform. And it's funny because in business world, our acronyms mean something totally different than them, and it can be real embarrassing sometimes. So, do what works for you. Be brilliant in the basics, but at the same time, stretch and be willing to be a little uncomfortable to really grab your niche in the entrepreneurial space. Because all three of us have different stories, and all three of us can look at that plant and see something different as well. I think amplifying and being able to give energy and excitement to what you're bringing to the table, that's the force multiplier and the difference maker, especially in the entrepreneurial space.
No, that's great.
Definitely
That's
appreciate
great
that.
advice. So my question is what are your plans and goals for your organization and also your continued involvement in the military space?
Wow. Plans and goals. To be fair, I would answer that question, DJ, in after Mick this year. And I say that because I'm a the Marine Corps has instilled in me some things that are going to take a while to shake. But that's the senior officers and the decision makers, they understand numbers. If you don't have numbers, you're not speaking their language. So I'm still building some numbers. In building those numbers, what I've learned, and I talked about the guerrilla attendance at the conferences. Got to meet folks here. Us and the folks, the generation behind us. If you're not meeting them here, you're missing it. And the they I'm talking about is the VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, who's on parade deck, the American Legion with Tango Alpha Lima podcast on parade deck, the Veterans of Foreign War, I'm still working on them, and the Disabled American Veterans. I name those because they're the shield. They are the blue chip, old school veteran service organizations who bring a lot to the fight. I wasn't a fan, okay? Old white dudes in the facility drinking warm beer and staining the ceiling with cigarette smoke. That's the image of those organizations, and they know it. I'm not saying anything here that I didn't say in DC to those executive directors. They get it, and they're making. Well, they understand it takes a while to turn the ship, and they understand that it's going to, they got to change their approach to get the younger generation. They're on board. Parade Deck is only a piece of that. I'm an ambassador for Reads Across America. So I went to Maine last October, November timeframe, and I did the convoy from Maine to Arlington National Cemetery. And we hit every cemetery along the way, heading to Arlington for Reads Across America Day. And that's when I bought into those organizations, because I saw them in the parking lots, at the pancake breakfast, with the red hats. They were out there supporting, recognizing our veterans. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And I was building my content and capturing content, but it clicked for me that, okay, I can get behind this, and I understand their mission now. So that's a long journey. What does success look like getting there is having those senior folks from those organizations use Parade Deck as their megaphone to get out. For me, that means getting my app, which is in beta right now, getting my app going, because there's a whole lot to it. And I won't go into all of that, but the bottom line is, for Parade Deck, success is when we do this call again, I've got the app. I've got my tellies back there, and we're still capturing more and more podcasts. And oh, by the way, and I don't have it here. I wish I did. They had a hammer and of course a microphone for the podcast awards. I'm looking at championship rings for my podcasters. That's what I want to give them for their award.
I love it.
That's what I'm working on, because I want them to be like.
Hey, that's amazing. So, Riccoh, do you have any parting words for the guests?
Parting words, Coach, not really any parting words. I would say, hey, go to paradedeck.com, check us out. There's a lot going on. I know there's a lot going on in the space, but my significant changes cosmetically won't be until after the Military Influencers Conference. Attend every year. DJ, you missed a grand one last year. If you can get to Atlanta this year, come check me out. Come check us out. It's not all about me, okay? I'm the CEO, I'm the face, I'm the energy guy. I like to get out there and get in the trenches, and then, the board is always trying to pull me back into the seat and, write something. I was like, no, I want to be out there in the trenches. But just please stay plugged into Parade Deck. We got a lot of exciting things percolating, and it's like I said, shamelessly, I want to be the godfather of the military veteran podcast. That's my goal.
That's so dope. That's so dope to me. I love it. I love it. I love your energy, tenacity. I love it.
Thank you.
Donnell, how can folks better support Veterans Growing America?
Hey, so it's 3 ways that you can support America. First, I want to thank you, Riccoh, before you get off, for being on our podcast today. And if you want to be the godfather, you got to change up the way you speak. You got to slow it down a little bit, and you got to show you're going to be the godfather.
Yeah. You need that, and don't forget the ring. Don't forget the ring.
You gotta have a ring. But the way that you can support Veterans Growing America is 3 ways. Number 1, go to our website, veteransgrowingamerica.com, become a member of our organization, and also donate. We got a donate button in the right-hand corner, and you can help out with entrepreneurship, because we believe at Veterans Growing America that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. If you're in the DMV area, you can stop by our 2 stores. The first store that we have is in Woodbridge, Virginia, right down the street from Quantico, Riccoh. Right there in the Stonebridge Shopping Center.
Okay.
And then we're opening up our second store in Clarksburg, Maryland, in the Premium Outlet Center, so you guys can support there. Your donations will help out veterans becoming entrepreneurs. And then the third way that you can support is to come to our events. Come to our events and support. When you come and shop with our veteran entrepreneurs, you're basically saying thank you for your service, and we certainly appreciate that. We have tons of events. We support business in all capacities. When I say all capacities, comedy is a business. We do a comedy show. Line dancing is a business. Poetry is a business. Music is a business. If you're in business, come join our platform at veteransgrowingamerica.com.
Okay.
I love it.
So, all right, Coach, I got a saved round. So all those things you mentioned should be on the Parade Deck events calendar. It's free.
Done.
Okay, because I want to support you, because everything you cover, I want to send my journalists to cover it, like lifting all of us up. Oh, I'm excited. All right, I'm calming down.
Oh man, Riccoh, thank you so much for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Thank you for not only blessing us with your presence, but the knowledge that you have bestowed upon us, man. Truly appreciate it. And Donnell, don't forget to tell the people all they got to do is what?
Shop, baby.
Shop, baby. We are over and out.